Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Freddy or Not, where my name is Freddy and I am ready to dive into today's topic, which is the lean green ninja team known as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. With several iterations over the years, I think it's fair to say we've gotten to know the Turtles pretty well. Yet in spite of that, even the most basic of information can continue to elude us. Which brings me to my question: what is the age order of the four brothers? It's pretty well established that Leo is the oldest and Mikey is the youngest, but who's the second oldest? Is it Raph or Donnie? The question is further complicated when you remember that throughout the numerous iterations the TMNT have had, the age order has changed. So like and subscribe, because today I resolve to go through each of the major iterations of the Turtles and come up with an answer. And by the end, we will have solid orders for each version, as well as finally putting to rest the debate between who's older, Donnie or Raph. Now before I dive in, I should note there are several versions of the Turtles, like too many, so I'm sticking to the three main comic series, those being Mirage, Archie, and IDW, as well as other TV show and movie appearances. With that established, let's start off with the 1987 show. Now this show doesn't really do us any favors, with it never mentioning anything about the Turtles' ages. A frequent way people try to figure out the age order of this version of the Turtles is through the theme song. They do this based on the order that they're introduced in, which would make the age order Leo, Donnie, Raph, then Mikey. You could also use this method on the 2003 Turtles, but unfortunately this all kind of falls apart when we get to the 2012 show, where the order they're introduced in the theme song doesn't actually follow the established age order, with Raph being introduced third instead of being the second oldest in that show. But even with the theme song method defunct, we still have other ways of finding out the Turtles' age order. You see, while the 1987 show made no mention of their ages, the toys from the 1988 toy line did, with it stating that Leo was 16, Raph 15, Donnie 15, and Mikey 15 and a half? So not only does it not give us an answer about Raph or Donnie being older, it makes Mikey the second oldest, which is just ugh. Now while the 1987 show took a lot from the toy line, it wasn't always one-to-one, like Tattoo being a hamster for some reason, so you don't have to take this as canon. But it is some of the only information we get about the Turtles' ages around this era of the show, and it kinda makes sense. At this point, the Turtles were all shown to look about the same, and nothing was really ever said about their ages. Plus, Michelangelo has a pretty deep voice in this show, which can lead one to think he's older, you know?
Doesn't it taste kind of strange?
Face it, bud. Peanut butter and clams is an acquired taste.
Also in 1990, the TMNT comic strip had a comic that said Donatello hatched the last, making him the youngest. So if you want to pair the comic strip information with the toy line, both of which came out while the 1987 show was on the air, mind you would get the bizarre lineup of Leo, Mikey, Raph, Donnie. The 1990 arcade game also has Leo being 16 and everyone else being 15, which would actually line up with the information presented around this time. Although a few months after this game released, the 1990 TMNT movie would be released, and it was really that movie that cemented the notion of Mikey being the youngest, due to how he acts. In 1991, the TMNT Hero Turtles comic had a special in which they state Leo and Donnie are 16 and Raph and Mikey are 15. I should mention I got this information from a Reddit post, so if anyone can confirm if that's actually in the book, that would be great. But assuming this information is accurate, then with the special being published by the same company that made the Fleetway comics, which often reprinted several TMNT adventure comics, I think it's safe to say that these ages probably also apply to the TMNT adventure comic series, making the Archie Turtle order Leo, Donnie, Raph, Mikey. It also goes to show just how much the way of thinking of the Turtles' ages had changed around that time. Riding the comic book train, in a Reddit Ask Me Anything, Kevin Eastman, one of the TMNT co-creators, confirmed Donnie is older than Raph, making the Mirage Turtles Leo, Donnie, Raph, Mikey. And recently, TMNT writer Sophie Campbell also directly showed the current ages of the IDW Turtles, which had the order being Leo, Donnie, Raph, Mikey. This also likely means the Batman vs. TMNT Turtles are in this order, since that movie is based on a comic which seems to have been originally intended to fit in with the IDW continuity, even if it didn't end up that way. This information would also seem to cement the idea that all three major comic series, Mirage, Archie, and IDW, all have the order as Leo, Donnie, Raph, and Mikey, which is interesting to think about. Moving on, we have more confirmed age orders, with the 2012 show having Leo, Raph, Donnie, Mikey. The Michael Bay movies also follow this order, with Leo, Raph, Donnie, Mikey, according to the Nickelodeon descriptions of the characters. The newest iteration, Mutant Mayhem, which also has the series Tales of the TMNT, also follows Leo, Raph, Donnie, Mikey. Even if Donnie's voice is extremely high-pitched, he is not the youngest. In recently, really recently, the video game Splintered Fate follows this order as well. The show Rise of the TMNT also has a confirmed order, but I'll circle back to that later. At this point, we should discuss what I like to refer to as the unidentified era. Here we have the 1997 show, The Next Mutation, which confirms absolutely nothing about which brothers are older, even going as far as to say that they aren't brothers at all.
We're not brothers.
The only positive here is that this show seems to take inspiration from the movie trilogy, literally being filmed on the same set, so maybe if we find out the ages of those turtles, we can just apply that age order to the Next Mutation turtles. Unfortunately, the movie trilogy doesn't do much for establishing how old they are. Luckily, the 2007 movie, TMNT, is actually a part of the film continuity, acting as the fourth film, so maybe information from that movie can retroactively establish an order for the original film trilogy in The Next Mutation. This movie also takes heavy inspiration from the 2003 show, which was being produced at the same time, with a prequel comic of the movie even going as far as to feature the Ninja Tribunal from the show. But the show only specified Leo as the oldest and Mikey as the youngest. The fourth film follows this and cements Leo as the oldest and Mikey as the youngest, with the director even going as far to say that they gave Michelangelo blue eyes because they wanted him to seem younger compared to the other turtles. Even the 2003 toy line doesn't help much in any way besides state they're all the same age. That being said, with how closely linked The Next Mutation, the movies, and the 2003 show seem to be, I think it's fair to say that if we can figure out an age order for one, we can probably apply it to all three. But now this comes down to the infamous debate of who's older, Donnie or Raph. Now we can argue that Viacom and Nickelodeon got the rights to the turtles, and it seems Nickelodeon believes Raph is older than Donnie, since all film iterations since then with confirmed ages have Raph as being older than Donnie. But while this might be the case, you have to remember Rise, which also had Raph older than Donnie, but changes it to have Raph be the oldest. It makes the ages really weird, with Raph being 15 and Donnie and Leo being 14 and Mikey being 13.
Yeah, but when I was his age, I was 2 years older.
Side note, every source I found says Leo is older than Donnie in this show. And that's without mentioning the IDW comic, which also came out after the Viacom purchase and has Donnie as older than Raph. So the notion that Nickelodeon has the age orders planned out or something kind of falls apart, since it's varied in the different iterations that have come out even after their purchase. We can then try to argue that since the 1991 comic was the most recent age order by the time these shows and movies came out, that should be the order they adhere to, but that's never been how this has worked, because by that logic, Mikey would still be the second oldest. Another way we can try to solve this is by getting really pedantic and saying that since Kevin Eastman, one of the co-creators of the TMNT, said the order is Leo, Donnie, Raph, Mikey, then that must be the order for all incarnations unless stated otherwise. But this is contradicted by Peter Laird, the other co-creator, saying that since he is no longer the owner of the TMNT, his statements on the matter are only his opinion, which should apply to Kevin Eastman as well, as a fellow co-creator who no longer has the rights. At this point, it seems the best answer we can come up with is based on evidence from the iterations in question. As such, I think the nail in the coffin of this Raph versus Donnie debate is how they treat Donatello in the 2007 movie, in which he becomes the de facto leader after Leo leaves.
You must learn to be strong when they are weak. If you don't learn to recognize this, then all hope is lost for our family.
Creating with it the implication that him being second in charge is due to his age, since Leo is in charge largely in part to being the oldest. So that more than likely creates the order of Leo, Donnie, Raph, Mikey. In the end, the 2012 show, the Michael Bay movies, Rise of the TMNT, IDW comics, and the Mirage comics have confirmed age orders. The Archie Turtles are this, assuming you count the Fleetway information and that the information is in that book, and the 1987 Turtles are this if you accept using the toy line and the comic strip. And the next mutation, the film series, the 2003 show, and Batman vs. TMNT are likely this based on educated guesses. Well, folks, that's all I got for you today, so be sure to smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.